Hi there, welcome to Dr. Tu Academy. This is Java tutorial for beginners, lesson 15. The topic of this lesson is interfaces. There are four most important concepts in object-oriented programming: inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction. There are two ways to achieve abstraction. The first is abstract classes, which we learned in our last lesson, and in this lesson we are going to learn interface. So what is interface? Interface is a blueprint of a class. Inside the interface, we can only have abstract methods and static constant variables. We know in our abstract class, we can have regular methods and abstract methods. But in interface, we can only have abstract methods. So interface allows us to achieve total abstraction. So how to use interface? First, we declare an interface, and we declare static constants variables. Also, we declare abstract methods. Then we declare implementation class from this interface. Then we implement all the methods in the implementation class. Now let's double click eclipse.exe. Let's click on Project Explorer. Lesson 14. We are going to create a new project for lesson 15. Click File, New, Project. Select Java Project. Click on Next. Project name, Lesson 15. Click on Next. Click on Finish. Module name, com.Dr2Academy.Java tutorial .lesson 15. Click on Create. Right click Lesson 15, New, Class. Package name is the same as the module name, com.Dr2Academy.Java tutorial .lesson 15. Class name, code tester. Click on Finish. Now let's create the main method. Public static void main stream brackets args braces. Now let's create the interface. Right click on Lesson 15, New, Interface. Interface name, user. Click on Finish. Let's define three public methods of the interface: user, public void set username string name public string get username public boolean login authentication string username string password pwd. Now let's create a class student to implement interface user. Right click on lesson 15, new class student. Click on finish. Now we are going to make this class to implement user interface. Implements user. We see the red line underneath the student. Put the mouse on top of the red line. See the message. We can click on here. Add unimplemented methods. See, it automatically added the implement methods here. Let's create a member variable. Username. User password. Let's create a constructor. Public student. So name is empty string. So password empty string. Now let's create a second constructor with parameters. Public student string name string pwd password username is name. We assign the name parameter to member variable username. User password is pwd password. Set the username. Username is name. Get the username. Return username. If username is name and user password is pwd, return true. Let's output some text here. System out print line student login success. System dot out dot print line student login fail. Now let's click on code tester. Let's declare student object. Student. Let's create a login status. Create a student object for Alex. Student Alex. Password AXPWD 123456789. Now let's call the login authentication method. Login status is student login authentication Alex. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9. So the actual password is the AXPWD 123456789, right? But we are going to use 123456789 to see what will happen. Double click on line 8. Click on debug button. Errors required project. We have an error. Let's cancel it. To see the red dot here, we have an error. Click on this. You see, we forgot the semicolon. Add a semicolon. Now the red dot disappeared. Now let's click on debug button. Step into it. This is the constructor of student. Now let's check the login authentication. Step into it. So the name is Alex. Alex. So this condition is true. But we know the user password for this object is AXPWD 123456789, right? But the parameter we passed in is 123456789. So this condition is false. Thus, the left-hand side condition is true, the right-hand side condition is false. this condition as false. So we'll skip the code inside the if block. See, it comes down right here. Print out the student login failed. Print out student login failed. Return false. Now the login status is false. The purpose of the interface is to provide a set of commonly used methods. So we have the student class. So we can see we created a student class to implement the user interface. Now let's create another class, teacher, to implement the user interface. The teacher class will also implement the set of methods defined in the user interface. Let's click on Project Explorer. Now let's create a second class, teacher. Right-click on Lesson 15, New, Class, Teacher. Click on Finish. Implements, User. See the red line here? Let's put the mouse on top of the red line. Click on Add Unimplemented Methods. It automatically adds those methods. Now let's add private member variables, username, and the user password. Private string username, private string user password. Let's add constructor, public teacher, username is blank string, user password is blank string. Let's create another constructor with parameters. Teacher string name string pwd password username is name user password is password. Now let's add implementation code to method set the username. Username is name. Get username. Return username. Login authentication. If username equals name and user password equals password, system.out.println print line teacher login, teacher login success. Return true. System.out print line teacher login failed. Okay, now we have defined the class teacher to implement the user interface. So we have two classes, one is teacher, one is student. Both classes implemented the methods defined in the user interface. Now let's create a teacher object. Teacher. Boolean login status 2. Teacher. Let's create a new teacher object. Jeff. Password. Jeff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Login status 2 is teacher. Login authentication Jeff. Jeff 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now let's click on debug button. Step into it. We are in the constructor of student. So the username is set to Alex, and the user password is set to axpwd123456789. Step over. Now we are going to check the login status by using the parameter Alex and the password here. Step into it. As we can see here, username is Alex and the parameter name is Alex. So the left-hand side condition is true. User password is axpwd with a number, and the parameter pwd has only number. So the right-hand side condition is false. Thus, the whole condition is false. We will skip the if block. Go to next. See? Now it will print out student login failed. Here, console window. The student login failed. Step over. Now the login status is false. Look at here. right? We assign the false to login status. Now we are going to create a new object teacher with the name Jeff, password Jeff 123456789. Step into it. This is the constructor of teacher class. We assign the name and the password to username and the user password member variables. Step over. Next. Step into. Now we see the username is Jeff. Name parameter is Jeff. So the left-hand side condition is true. Now let's check the right-hand side condition. User password is Jeff 123456789. PWD is Jeff 123456789. So this condition is also true. Thus, we will move into the if block. Click on step over. It will print out the teacher login success. Right? Teacher login success. We just assign the true to login status 2. What if we use the student name Alex to log in the teacher object? Let's see what will happen. Click on debug button. Click on step over. Step over. Now let's create a teacher object, Jeff. We have created a teacher object, Jeff, but we log in to this object with the Alex name. Step into it. As we can see, the username is Jeff, but the parameter we passed in is Alex. So this condition is false. The user password Jeff 123456789 and the PWD parameter is the same. So the right hand side is true, but the left hand side condition is false. So it will skip the if block. See, so it will print out the teacher login failed. Let's step over. Teacher login failed. Okay. This is how we use interface. We first define the interface by using the interface keyword and a set of methods without the implementation body. Then we define the class to implement the user interface. The keywords is implements. And the student. As we can see from the login authentication method, each class has its own implementation for the methods. The student login authentication will print out student login failed or success, right? The teacher login authentication method will print out teacher login success or failed. Now let's take a quick recap of what we just learned about interfaces. We know that class is a blueprint of object. And the interface is a blueprint of class. Interface can only contain abstract methods and static constant variables. To use an interface, we have to declare classes to implement all the methods inside the interface. And this class is called implementation class. It will implement all the methods defined in the interface. Our next lesson is package. We will learn what is package and how to use packages. That's all for this lesson of interface. I will see you next time. Bye.